Hey everyone, I hope you've had a good week. My name is Jake and my channel is Jake Trades and Invests, where I do a weekly video of where the price of different commodities and indices have moved, as well as where I think prices may be headed in the coming weeks. This is not financial advice. All of this is my opinion and my analysis. Please trade at your own risk. And with all of that said, let's go ahead and jump into our first chart. We're going to take a look here at the dollar index. This week we've continued to sell off and we've come down and touched our support zone that's been running through this area for years and years and years. We've got this long-term monthly channel that has formed back since around 2008 time frame. So the lows here are running up on the bottom of this channel. It also coincides with the 200 moving average on the monthly chart. That's kind of touching the bottom of this support channel and support zone here. So the dollar index has come down and touched the top of that zone. So in the next couple of weeks, it'll be interesting to see how the price reacts in this area. In my opinion, I think we're going to get at least a small bounce back up towards the moving averages, potentially test this zone that I've got marked in here. I'll zoom out again just on a daily, but for 5 years, we've got this kind of expanding cone shape here, and we broke below that, so it's possible the price is going to come back up around this $100 mark to retest that zone in the coming weeks. But again, hard to say right now. We could continue to fall through this zone that we're bouncing off of currently, but in my opinion, I think we're at least due for a small bounce back up towards that $100 range, the 50 moving average, somewhere in that area. So with that, we'll move to gold. And like I've talked about the last couple of weeks, with a weakening dollar, that's usually strength, a good sign for strength in gold and the other precious metals. And so with the dollar selling off this week, gold has continued to push up back towards its all-time highs. We're currently sitting about $50 to $60 below the all-time high. So, but if we do get the bounce in the dollar, it's possible we'll get a short-term pullback in gold. So just watch out for that. But overall, I think gold looks good to continue higher over the short to medium term. Silver. So we had a strong push up last week, and we've basically just been consolidating a little bit into this week. We still have some strong buying coming in on the pullbacks, which is a good sign. But we are overextended from the moving averages, so I think a little bit of chop sideways and consolidation is likely for silver in the coming weeks, at least to allow the moving averages to kind of catch up. And again, if dollar shows some strength in the short term, it's possible that silver is going to pause, consolidate, maybe pull back a little bit in the near term. For platinum, we started off the week continuing to push higher and reached 1300 before selling off strongly on Friday, and wiping out our gains from Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we're back down towards the $1,200 mark right now. Very overextended from the moving averages. It's likely with this strong of selling in this area that platinum's going to pause here for a while and consolidate. Copper, not much action in copper. We've been pulling back this week after getting back up into that $5 range. We're currently sitting around the moving averages and around this gray support resistance zone here. So it's likely copper is going to consolidate similar to platinum in the coming weeks. Just probably more sideways movement, I would think. Now for oil. So for the last couple of weeks, last couple of videos, I was talking about oil going to 66. We did that on Tuesday of this week, and then Wednesday, the momentum got behind oil and started to push higher, and Friday, that continued Thursday into Friday. We pushed all the way up to 77.60 around that area before doing some selling off about halfway back down to 73.30. So a lot of momentum behind oil right now. With that big of a push, it looks like oil wants to continue higher, but we also are above the moving averages and above this support zone here, so it could be a little bit of consolidation coming in the coming weeks for oil. It's also possible that the momentum continues next week and it just picks up where it left off and still pushes higher, depending on what's driving the price up. But for now, I'm thinking there might be a little bit of consolidation coming for oil in this area. But as long as it can stay above the moving averages and above our $66 to $68 support zone that goes back several years, it looks good for oil to head higher in the short to medium term. And now for natural gas. Been talking about this one for a couple of weeks, that it looks like it's got a little bit of momentum behind it. Every time it pulls back, there's some buying into these dips, and these pullbacks are getting shorter. So natural gas looks like it's ready to head back up towards this $4 range overhead, and maybe even further. Our moving averages are trending higher. The shorter term 50 moving average is above the 100 and the 200, so that's a good sign. So in my opinion, I think natural gas looks good for a short to medium term swing up to new highs eventually, maybe around the $5 mark. But that could take a couple of months to get there. But in my opinion, I think right now looks like a good setup for natural gas. A good time to buy into this. It looks like it's got a little bit of a strength building, kind of consolidating and squeezing sideways. In my opinion, I think natural gas is a good buy at this area. So now we'll move on to the S&P 500. We continued our week this week, pushing higher up until Friday, where we started to sell off a little bit. But again, we're extended above the moving averages, so it's likely that a little consolidation might be necessary, especially considering just the large push up we've had over the last couple of months. But I think as long as price can hold above 5,800, where this gap is and where these lows are, the recent lows, if it can stay above the moving average and stay above the 5,800 mark, it looks good for this rally to continue. But again, none of this is guaranteed. We'll have to wait and see. As I've talked about the last few videos, we still have several gaps below us that have not been filled. So as long as we don't have any news that scares the market and sells off quickly again to fill these gaps, in my opinion, I think the market is showing strength and looks good to continue to the upside. Nasdaq, same thing. We sold off Friday as we didn't really move much during the week. But like the S&P 500, I think as long as we can kind of hold around 21,000, definitely above 20,500, I think over the short to medium term, the Nasdaq looks good to continue to the upside in the near term. We're above the moving averages. The moving averages are trending higher, so that is a bullish sign. So we'll just have to wait and see over the next couple of weeks. Some pullbacks and consolidations are expected in any market, and I think that may occur in the coming weeks. But again, as long as the price can hold in this general region, I think the buyers will step in and prices will continue to go up. Now for the Dow, we are still consolidating sideways. The Dow's in a tighter range compared to the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. The gaps are not as wide. So we are currently sitting just above the moving averages. So going into this week, if price can hold around this $42,000 level, it could be a good chance to buy before another push higher. But if we start to break down below the moving averages and below this support zone here, it could be a warning sign, and some more selling could be in the near future. But for now, we'll watch into this week and see how price reacts around this level. As for the Russell 2000, similar story like the Dow. The gaps are not as large. Got good momentum behind the price. It pushes up, small pullback, push up, small pullback. We're currently sitting around the moving averages, similar to the Dow as well. So I think as long as the price can hold in this area above the moving averages, it could be a good buying opportunity. But if we start to see some selling pressure and the price falls below the moving averages, that could be another warning sign. And given that these 50 moving average is below the 100 and the 200 on the Russell, it's not quite confirmed bullish yet, because the shorter term moving averages is below the longer term ones. However, the price action looks to be bullish, and we're getting a little bit of pullback and probably some consolidation. So we'll see in the coming weeks how the price reacts in this area. And we'll finish here with Bitcoin. Like the indices and the commodities, we've got a little bit of selling and consolidating going on. With the strength in the dollar, the potential strength in the dollar, I should say, coming in the next week or two, in my opinion, it's possible we'll see some more consolidation and pullback in Bitcoin, as it tends to do the opposite of what the dollar is doing. So if we're seeing strength in the dollar, then there may be a little bit of weakness in Bitcoin. But for now, it looks like we're just kind of consolidating. And if we can hold above the $100,000 mark, I think Bitcoin would still continue up in the short to medium term. And with all of that said, that's all I have for this week. If you find value from this content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Please leave a comment. You can say thanks for the video, thanks for the analysis. Also, if you disagree, please let me know. And if you haven't checked out last week's video, please check that one out and see how the analysis held up. And I will see you all again next week. Thanks. Have a good week.